Hello, this is Paul Malizia reporting his teaching observation hours for EDU 506. I spent time at Skyview Upper Elementary School, which is in the Methacton School District, as well as CSF and Bucksmont Academy, which is an alternative school in Pottstown. At Skyview Upper Elementary School, I observed both science and social studies at the fifth grade level with Sean Permar and Linda Unangs. Both were very welcoming and offered a lot of great feedback as well as wonderful classroom environments. Looking at the slide, you can see how both classrooms arranged their desks. I thought this was a very effective arrangement as both teachers were able to move freely around the room by either standing in front of the classroom, entering into the arranged desks, or by walking around the outside of the arrangement. This provided easy access to interact with the students and also allowed students to work in small collaborative groups when necessary. I followed two classes during my stay at Skyview. The first class had approximately a fourth of the students who required IEPs and had what was described as behavioral issues. This class did have a learning support aide in the classroom that observed and assisted when necessary. Though the students were claimed to have behavioral issues, I thought both teachers effectively worked with the students and kept them on track, and outside of a little chitter chatter here or there, all the students were well behaved and followed what appeared to be the class rules. The second class was an advanced learning class where none of the students had IEPs or behavioral concerns. This class was well behaved as well and did seem to learn at a faster pace and covered a bit more material per lesson. However, I do think the teachers did a nice job from getting too far ahead by opening the classroom up for more open-ended questions and more exploration and critical thinking opportunities. In science, the lesson topics included land features, coastal features, underwater landforms, and landforms that are created by destructive forces. Unfortunately, due to my time schedule, I was unable to observe any of the labs the class performed, but I thought the teacher did an excellent job presenting the topics to the class. I know there were things I learned in the classroom myself. In social studies, the teacher explored the American Revolution. During my time spent, they discussed many topics leading up to the American Revolution, key figures during that time, and important locations and battles. At CSF and Bucksmont Academy, I observed science and social studies as well, but this school took on a whole new other form. CSF Bucksmont Academy is a correctional school that deals with all ages and really has to focus on differentiation at its finest and also corrects severe behavioral issues. I thought it was a unique place to do an observation because you never know when you're going to have a student in your class that shows behavioral issues like these. I spoke with the director, Chris Boretsky, one-on-one before and after the observation, and it was nice to bounce my thoughts off of her and to see how they deal with the issues that were evident in the classroom. The teachers had very contrasting styles. Michael, the social studies teacher, was a veteran teacher in his early 50s, and the science teacher was a fresh out of college and is in his early 20s. It was interesting to see their specific styles play out, and I must say neither of their techniques seemed to have a significant effect on these children. This gave me a lot of valuable insight on what I can, should, or not do when dealing with kids of this nature. As you can see by the arrangements, the science teacher preferred more of a business meeting table arrangement, where all the students sat around one big table as he taught his lesson. On the other hand, the social studies teacher preferred a circular arrangement with side tables where students could work independently as well as with computers. I think both arrangements are good, but it is important to use them effectively and in ways that meet the demands of their students. The student population of this school had a vast array of behavioral issues. Students were there because their public schools had put them on probation for the minimum of 45 days, though some students have been there for years, apparently, working through their issues. Many of the students come from toxic homes that lack the proper support system. Some of the stories are so bad it just makes your heart break and understand why these kids are who they are. Some kids have their own caseworkers or parole officers due to the severity of their behaviors. Most of the children are not on grade level, and thus there is a lot of differentiation within the classroom to meet their educational needs, with the preferred choice of being study island. Most of the students desperately want to be back in their original schools but they struggle so much with their behaviors they wind up either being removed from the corrective school altogether and relocated to a facility that can perhaps meet their conditions more appropriately, or they wind up staying there beyond 45 days until they can prove they have mastered their behavioral issues. During my time there, I saw lessons dealing with community ecology and science and the economy and social studies. Both teachers had their own styles. However, the use of IMAX were the preferred technological choice when presenting the lessons to the students. They also worked out of their workbooks and online with Study Island to provide differentiation. One of the most interesting things I partook in was a peer social group, or PSG. I was surprised to find that the school wanted me to partake in the PSG, as I was only there to observe. But I played along and offered my 2 cents when it was required. The way a PSG works is students, teachers, and administrators all sit together in a large circle, and students must address their behavioral issues that have been affecting them and disrupting the flow of classes to the entire group. Once they have identified their behaviors, the entire group, one by one, offers up a response to address that individual's behaviors. They offer advice and constructive feedback. However, most of the students do not offer much, as they dislike the PSGs a lot, because it puts them on the spot and airs out their dirty laundry, so to speak. However, it does give the teachers and administrators a chance to really address their concerns and also provide some real valuable feedback to the students. The PSG could last as long as 30 minutes or even up to a week. The decision to go into group is based upon how well students are following the rules of the school, as well as addressing their behaviors. If behaviors and the rules are not followed, then group comes into play. When addressing the rules in groups, students, teachers, and administrators all have a vote on the rules. In order for a rule to pass, it has to be a unanimous vote and vice versa. I found this to be an ineffective method, as students only voted for the rules they liked. The director claims it holds them accountable to the rules because they set them themselves. These kids are here due to the behavioral issues they have and need structure and discipline. Allowing them to dictate the rules that are easy and comfortable defeats the purpose. If they do not fear the consequence, it will not have an effect on this specific population. An example of this was when a teacher proposed a rule that would make a student call their caseworker or parole officer when their behaviors exceeded a certain level. Well, students cried bloody murder because they knew that would have a severe consequence. Ultimately, the rule was nixed because none of the students voted for that rule. I think that was a waste of time, and to be honest, it is not doing those kids any justice by letting them run the ship. Observations I noticed at Methacton included formative assessments, order and structure, learning support aids, positive corrective feedback, patience, hand gestures, student jobs, flipbook study guides, guided questioning, class rules, smartboard technology, time management, visual props, real-world comparisons, timers, whole group reading, with itness, differentiation, reward systems, workbooks, read alouds, review, independent work, and Q&A sessions. Observations I noticed at CSF and Bucksmont Academy included whole group circles, critical thinking, small group work, discipline issues, study island, icebreakers, problem solving, guided questioning, communication issues, peer social groups, open discussion, independent work, behavioral issues, differentiation, and IMAC technology.